name's John Chapman. Now in this video podcast we're going to look at some of the issues around travel and security when we plan our international projects. We need to understand about visa requirements, we need to understand about how we're going to get there and how long that's going to take, and when we're working on the ground, what are the considerations that we take into account to make sure that our team are safe, secure and well looked after. So many countries will require us to get a visa before we can go and work there. Not a holiday visa, but a work permit. And it's important that we know what the constraints are and what the requirements to get these visas are. Quite often we can't just arrive in the country and pay and fill out a form. It may be that we need a letter of invitation from the people that we're going to work with, and this will take time to arrange because internally they will need to write it and probably get it signed by a senior person. Also back in the UK, it takes time just to get the visa. There's an elapsed time from when we submit the form to the local embassy or consulate. There's probably a fee to pay, and we need to include these in our project planning, both for the time to get the visa and also the costs that we're going to incur, which is going to affect the cost for the project. So we've identified that we need the visa. Now it might be that actually we've got to go and visit the local embassy or consulate to get the visa, or we have to send someone for us to go there. There could be entry restrictions, and so if our colleagues are well travelled around the world, there may be hostilities still between some countries, and by going into one country and having a stamp on it, then you will not be allowed entry into another. So perhaps you should consider getting 2 passports. Now again, these things require planning. You can go down to the UK passport office and get a passport immediately, but that will require a visit again in person and it will cost you more money. So in our international planning, we need to understand visa restrictions and we need to know what they are so we can make provision for them, so when our consultants go on site, we're not prevented from getting there and doing the work. So, we're now going to consider how we get to the site. Now of course in the UK, we may just hop on a train or get in the car and we'll be at the site within an hour, perhaps less, perhaps more. We'll do a day's work and we come home. But on international projects, we need to take into account that there will be travelling time. So let's go through a worked example. We've got a project that's going to be running in Gabon and we want to get from London to Libreville, which is in Gabon. Now the difficulty we face though is that there's flying time and we can't get a connecting flight from London. So our flying time is 9 hours 40 minutes, but to do that flight we have to go from London to Paris and then from Paris to go to Libreville. So when we look on the internet, and this is in 2012 figures, we've got about £1,500 worth of cost. Now our 7:10 flight from London Heathrow probably means that we have to be at the airport at 5:10 in the morning, and if we are far away from the airport we've probably got to travel there the night before and stay in a hotel, or we have to get up perhaps around 2 AM. From London Heathrow we fly to Paris Charles de Gaulle and then we get the connecting flight which then takes us to Libreville, landing at around 16:50. Now our travelling time of course is much longer because, as I say, it's taken us time to get to the airport, and when we get out from the other side we're then going to need to get to our hotel and check in. So potentially we've lost a day just travelling before we start work. Now are we going to ask our colleagues to travel on a Sunday so they're there for Monday morning, or are we going to perhaps suggest they travel on a Monday so we're there for Tuesday? Now of course the working days in the week are affected, and also there might not be flights every day. Now our next consideration is around where are our colleagues going to stay when they're on the ground. We want to make sure that they're put into quality hotel accommodation. We're asking them to stay away from home, to be displaced for a while, and they need to be comfortable and they need to be secure. Now remember, it is more than just a bed for a night and they're not on holiday. Because they're away for a period of time, we want to make sure that it's a good quality place and somewhere that is actually in an area that's nice to visit. Now we do need to recognise that hotel accommodation can be scarce. Depending upon the time of year and what's going on in the country, it may be difficult actually just to get a room. So plenty of planning in advance to have a look at what else is happening in that town, that city, that capital city, and also to have a look at what hotels are available. Because in some countries you might not actually have that big a range. So we need some planning in advance to find out if not only can we get there, but can we actually find somewhere for our colleagues to stay. Now we need to be conscious of the security arrangements for our team. So the first place to start is the Foreign and Commonwealth website. And when we go onto that site, we can actually look for travel advice by country. Now check this regularly to find out what the Foreign and Commonwealth Office are saying about the location we're going to visit. And also check with your insurers, because it may be that insurance cover isn't going to be available if there's particular hostilities going on in that country. Now there is an option on there to use something called locate, and what this means is that our team can put in the details of who they are, their next of kin, and the travel time when they're going to be there. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office then know that you are on the ground in that country, and should there be an issue, they can then get hold of you. This is really important, because we need to make sure that we are looking after our teams, and also that the embassy and consulate are aware that someone is on site. So now we're going to bring it all together. In our security arrangements, we have to understand what the requirements are when our team land on the ground. Should they be met at the airport? They have to be escorted to the hotel, and from the hotel out to the office each day. Perhaps there's only places that they can go out to dinner that are safe. And then finally from the hotel back to the airport at the end of their visit. Now the people we're working with on the ground should be able to tell us this, and quite often they can arrange these things for us. But if we don't know to ask and to prompt it in advance, then we may be putting our team at risk. So now we're going to bring it all together. We've looked at the issues around international planning and projects. We've looked at travel and security. So let's have a look at what we should consider. On initiation, our planning has to include, are we going to get visas? How are we going to get them, and what are the requirements to have a visa? Have we got flights booked? Are people going to be able to get to the company, get to the country? Are they going to be able to get home again? Do we actually know what the travel time is? And if it's overnight, they're going to be suffering from jet lag. Have we got good quality hotel accommodation booked? Who's going to pick up the cost for the hotel accommodation? And how are we going to make sure there are actually rooms available? And finally, for security, we need to make sure our team are safe. So they're going to have someone pick them up at the airport, take them back to the hotel, and escort them when they're on the ground. My name's John Chapman. I hope you've enjoyed this video podcast. Please give us a call. We look forward to speaking with you.